Okay, so I've had a lot of folks ask me for this, and so we're gonna make a really quick video on this is how to make liposomal vitamin C. So there's a couple things you're gonna need. First off, you're gonna want non-GMO sunflower lecithin. This just happens to be the brand that we purchased, but there are several different brands on Amazon. Also, you're gonna want vitamin C ascorbic acid. And this, again, you want to make sure is non-GMO. You're also going to need distilled water. Doesn't really matter which distilled water you get. I will tell you, do not, just make sure it's pure distilled water. We tried getting distilled water out of the baby aisle once, mainly because the pandemic hit with coronavirus, and there was no distilled water anywhere else in the store, and so we found some distilled water in the baby aisle. It turns out that did not work because that distilled water had minerals and stuff added to it. So you want just pure distilled water. You are going to need some beakers. This is I think it's a 600 milliliter beaker. Right now I've already put 500 milliliters of water in here, just so that I can make sure it's measured out quickly and for the video. On Amazon they sell these kits. This is a ultrasonic cleaner. And the kit comes with the 1,000 milliliter beaker, as well as a little bit of a stand for it, and we'll show you how to use that toward the end of this video. So I spent about 2 months developing this recipe. You're welcome to copy this if you choose. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I like to learn, and so I did a bunch of research to figure out how to make this happen. My wife chose to fight cancer naturally, and as part of her protocol was vitamin C. Specifically, she was supposed to get intravenous vitamin C, and that was going to cost us about $220 per treatment, and she was supposed to have one treatment every 2 or 3 days, and so we just couldn't afford it. So what I did is I did some research. I found liposomal vitamin C. You can buy liposomal vitamin C from a lab, and they've tested it, and they know their potency, and everything's exactly right. You can do that. For us, it was about $45 just for a week's worth of liposomal vitamin C from that provider. So we ended up just making our own. And so based on the measurements and stuff that I'm going to give you today, it is a very potent dose. You can take as much as 50 milliliters in a dose of this liposomal vitamin C, and it won't affect you poorly. At least the folks that we have given it to and our family have not had any issues. So first thing you can do, we do everything by weight. So you're going to want to put, I'm going to get this measurement going. I'm measuring in grams. I'm going to put 60 grams of lecithin into this cup. And one thing to keep in mind is after you mix your lecithin in your water, you do need to let your lecithin sit for at least 2 hours. We typically will let it sit 2 hours, or we'll just let it sit overnight. It doesn't really matter. That's my dog drinking in the background. Okay, so we are at 60.1 grams. So I'll just stop there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the sunflower lecithin, we're going to put it into a magic bullet. And a couple things, when you put this into magic bullet or whatever option you choose to mix it, you're going to want to get the water into it and get it mixing pretty quick, because once that water makes contact with the lecithin, it gets really thick and really sticky, and it's hard to get off the sides. Also, you may attempt to mix this by hand, but you will find that it is nearly impossible to mix the lecithin and the water by hand. It just does not get mixed well enough. So I typically try and leave a little bit so that in the magic bullet has the ability to jump around a little bit when it's mixing. It just helps speed up the mixing process. So what I'm looking for, I don't know if you can see it in the video, you can see there's clumps of lecithin still in here. So I'm going to keep mixing until most of that is gone. Go a little bit further, it's getting better. You also notice I haven't put all of the water in here. It doesn't really matter. The goal is to liquefy the lecithin as much as possible, so that's what I'm up to. Alright, so you can still see there's a few little spots here and there, but it's mostly done. So we're going to go ahead and empty this back into our beaker. Everything I'm using I have bought, except for obviously the still water, I have purchased online on Amazon. The scale that I'm using is this little scale here. Picked that up at Harbor Freight and Tool. I'm sure Amazon has scales that you can purchase. Alright, so there are 3 steps in making liposomal vitamin C. This is the first step, and in this step we've mixed the distilled water with 60 grams of sunflower lecithin. Now I'm going to cover it up, and it's going to sit for 2 hours. There are a lot of DYI videos on YouTube about how to make liposomal vitamin C. My research actually took me to do-it-yourself videos, and then I found a few lab videos, found a couple different folks that were a little bit more advanced in their understandings of the process